Good evening and welcome to News Hour. Coming up in this edition of the news, Sierra Leone joins Muslims the world over to observe the feast of Eid al-Fitr to mark the end of this year's holy month of Ramadan. Newly appointed United Nations Population Fund country representative to Sierra Leone, Dr. Kim Eva Dixon, applauds government's free health care program. And Executive Director of Maritime Administration unveils plans to commence inspection of foreign vessels sailing the country's territorial waters. All the stories and more, including business and sports, are lined up in this hour. Stay with us. I am Daphne Zainab Kamara. For our first news story tonight, the Minister of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, Dr. Sylvia Blyden, has joined worshippers at the Ahmadiyya Central Mosque Isidokyot to observe the Eid al-Fitr prayer. According to the worshippers of the mosque, Dr. Sylvia Blyden is following the footsteps of her grandfather, Dr. Edmund Blyden, who was a fervent Christian but supported and always prayed with Muslims, who being highlights of that event.
That is the holy month of Ramadan. Don't teach me for Falmakata we master the holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We for help Motamanden, Allah will help me. We for help become the Muslim and believers, Allah will help me.
May Allah bless all the leaders of the country. May Allah bless our government. May Allah bless the I want to wish all the Muslim brothers in Retire a happy Eid on behalf of His Excellency the President Dr. Anis Kuruma. We mean a minister where we appoint for they in charge of religious affairs in this country. Me, an embodiment of what we make Sierra Leone #1 right now for peace inside West Africa. Because being a woman, being a Christian, but I get full respect for the Muslim brothers there. And under the leadership of the ministry, we will continue to promote Islam, the Muslims, and anything for doing the Prophet Muhammad. Thank you all. Thank you.
My message to the nation is one of goodwill, wishing the nation all the blessings of Ramadan, wishing the nation healthy living, healthy Islamic life, and for everybody in this nation to be reached with the Ramadan blessings, with the goodness of Ramadan in this world and the hereafter. You are finishing with you. I wish this nation successful life of its people, to be able to live as good Muslims and to encourage further religious tolerance.
Today is a great day for Muslims all over the world. We are celebrating the end of the great month of Ramadan. And we pray that all our efforts during the month will be accepted by Allah. And we pray in His name And we're very happy to this. And we extend, I want to extend that happiness to all our brothers and sisters throughout the country.
Honorable Justice Abdullah Sheikh Fofana and Professor Abu Susay ending that goodwill message to their colleague Muslims. Sierra Leone on Wednesday, 6 July, has joined Muslims the world over to observe the feast of Eid al-Fitr to mark the end of holy month of Ramadan for this year. Hundreds of Muslims converge at the Siaka Stevens Stadium to offer prayers and several other areas within the western area. At the Siaka Stevens Stadium, Muslims were encouraged to strongly believe in Allah as the creator of heaven and earth and the master of the day of judgment, and that there is no other God to be worshipped except him alone.
Come up to the meeting. We need you right now. على سيدنا إبراهيم.
They say the order overcrowd right now. Two people don't mind, they're not over that crowd there. They are there with a baby. All right.
الله أكبر الله أكبر
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر
ولله الحمد
ولله الحمد
الله أكبر كبيرا
الله أكبر كبيرا
لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله وحده لا إله إلا الله وحده
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر
الله أكبر كبيرا
الله أكبر كبيرا
Eid prayers at the Siaka Stevens Stadium. The 10th memorial anniversary of the late mayor of Freetown Municipality, Alfred Abraham Akibopets, has been held at the Mountain Road Secondary School at Regent Village on the Church of Holy Trinity Kisi Road in Freetown. The memorial of the late Alfred Akibopets started with the renovation of the school and awarding of scholarships to outstanding pupils. Judith Sana reports.
The scholarships were awarded by Mrs. Mita Akibobets to deserving students on behalf of the family. She encourages them to treat their schoolwork with seriousness as education is key to success. Earlier, the Reverend Albert Beckley calls for joint efforts in ensuring that the future leaders are empowered. Mount Rural Secondary School Principal Willie Smith Taylor appreciates the family, underscoring the need for collaborative efforts in the promotion of the school. He assured that they will maintain the school to expectation. According to one of the children of the late man, Alfred Akibobet Jr., they went to boost the school because it's one of their father's legacies. The school was repainted and furnished with furniture aimed at providing the children with a conducive learning environment. He notes that as a family, they were celebrating their father because of the great impact he made on earth. Mr. Akibobet informs the Guardian that their father was a renowned politician and a member of the APC party. Mr. Akibobet Jr. explains some of the services rendered by their father within the municipality.
This school behind us here is the Mount Royal Secondary School. It was founded by my parents, but most notably my late father, Alfred Abraham Akibobet, 30 years ago, on the 18th of September 1986. Although Regent Village was far away from Freetown that time, but my father wanted education to come to this village, and the village only had a primary school that time. So my father decided to open a secondary school, and it's still standing. So on its 10th memorial anniversary, us, the family, have decided to renovate the school, to give out scholarships to students, and also to provide some furniture and fittings for the school. So that's what we're here to do today, and we're happy to be here as a family, and we'll continue obviously to celebrate his life and obviously to continue to support the school.
In a similar tribute at the Holy Trinity Church, the National APC Deputy Secretary General Frank Kagbo spoke of political affiliation with the All People's Congress Party.
There are so many descriptions that came to mind about Alfred Abraham Akibobet. To me, he was patriot. He was loyal. He was faithful to Sierra Leone and all who knew him. Alfred was forthright. He was also stubbornly principled. He will hold on to a position, and by God, it will be hard to shift him from that. He had a very strong character, personality, that nobody can deny. And he was, despite of that, a compassionate and God-fearing man.
Celebrants of the event at the Holy Trinity Church, Reverend Canon Cole urges the congregation to be steadfast in the Lord and walk according to the gospel. Besides his mayorship position, the late Alfred Abraham Akibobet served as Minister of Fisheries and later Lands before his demise.
In an effort to support the government's food self-sufficiency, youth from 4 communities in the Kamara district have received seed rice. The gesture by the National Youth Commission aims at supporting young people in agriculture. Darwin Kaloko reports.
With the aim of supporting the President's priority project, which is aimed at ensuring Sierra Leoneans begin to consume purely their own produced rice, the distribution of the bushels of rice is expected to feed hundreds of Sierra Leoneans after harvest. Young people will now engage in the cultivation of local rice, which is a demonstration of their commitment to help boost the agriculture sector. National Youth Commission Regional Coordinator East, Sandy Kongo Sama, says that the distribution of the bushels of rice to 4 communities in the Kamara district is aimed at supporting young people to engage in industrious work that will change their lives for the better. The regional coordinator says the National Youth Commission is passionate in transforming the mindset of young people to a better youth, preparing to benefit from the President's agenda for prosperity. He noted that over the years, they have supported young people in different trades, but now see the need to support them in agriculture, the bedrock of the country's economy. He says with more young people in the agriculture field, it will help the country to make a lot of gains in providing local foodstuff for consumption. He told the youth to take the project seriously and carefully monitor the rice cultivation for the good for all. He spoke about plans to give more agricultural support to the youth in the Kamara district to help the government achieve food self-sufficiency. Various speakers commended the National Youth Commission for the provision of bushels of seed rice, which, if properly cultivated and harvested, will enable their community to eat their own locally produced rice, especially when imported rice is expensive. They promised to monitor the activities of the young people, calling on the youth to effectively manage the project in order to ensure other youth benefit. The Youth Officer, Minister of Youth Affairs, Ibrahim Jabi, says the Youth Ministry and the National Youth Commission are determined and passionate to provide young people the enabling environment for them to be able to transform their lives.
Kidnapped Sierra Leone's High Commissioner to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Major General Retired Nelson Claude Williams, has been released after almost 5 days in captivity. The Deputy High Commissioner was kidnapped a week ago in Nigeria whilst he was on an official assignment to Kaduna, where he was to witness a military graduation. The news of his release was made known to journalists at State House by the Minister of Information and Communications, Mohammed Bangura, and the presidential spokesman, Abdullahi Berete. Details surrounding the release of the General Nelson Williams were not made known to the media, as a high-powered government delegation dispatched to Nigeria to help secure his release is yet to return. We bring you highlights of the press briefing at State House.
I am pleased, as a government, to announce to you that our Deputy High Commissioner is now with us. On that note, safely with us, has dispatched a high-level delegation headed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Until they come back from Nigeria, we are not going to discuss matters surrounding how he was kidnapped, how he was freed, because the purpose of the delegation was to look into all of that. As a responsible government, we are awaiting the return of that delegation. A press conference will again be convened here for further details.
You may recall that yesterday we issued out a press release in which we informed you of the confirmation of the kidnapping of our Deputy High Commissioner to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Major General Retired Alfred Claude Nelson Williams. And in that press release, we also inform you that we've received the highest assurances from the Federal Republic of Nigeria that they are on top of the situation and that they will do all what they can to ensure that our retired Major General is secured. Also in that very press release, we also informed you that a high-powered delegation is being dispatched by His Excellency the President Dr. Ernest Benkoroma, led by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, with a view to go and complement the efforts on the ground there to ensure the safe return of our Deputy High Commissioner. Today, by way of emphasis as divulged by the Honorable Minister, and on behalf of His Excellency the President and the government, I want to make it official that indeed our Deputy High Commissioner, the retired Major General Alfred Claude Nelson Williams, is now safely back in the hands of our government, and he is currently at our High Commission in Abuja.
Highlight of the press briefing at State House on the release of the country's Deputy High Commissioner to Nigeria, Major General Retired Nelson Williams. The newly appointed United Nations Population Fund Country Representative to Sierra Leone, Dr. Kim Eva Dixon, has applauded the laudable initiative of government's free healthcare program for pregnant women, lactating mothers, and children under 5. She acknowledged the achievement as a bold step towards improving on the health status of women and children in the country. The UNFPA envoy made the commendation at State House during a call on the president. Kamara filing this report. Presenting the UNFPA representative, the Minister of State 2, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Honorable Aissata Kabia, said Dr. Kim Eva Dixon, a Ghanaian national, has worked with several organizations within the United Nations system for over 10 years. She maintained that before joining the UNFPA, Dr. Kim Dixon worked with the UNICEF's global portfolio on maternal and newborn health and spearheaded the process for the development and adoption of the global Every Newborn Action Plan. The Minister of State 2 further disclosed that prior to UNICEF, she was a senior advisor at the World Health Organization's HIV department in Geneva, Switzerland, where she was responsible for coordinating the WHO's contributions to the global plan for the elimination of the new HIV infections among children and keeping their mothers alive. Honorable Aissata Kabia added that Dr. Kim Eva Dixon also previously led WHO's efforts to provide global leadership for the scaling up of male circumcision for HIV prevention. Speaking on the purpose of her visit, Dr. Kim Eva Dixon thanked the President, the Minister and the government for the timely approval of accreditation to Sierra Leone and for accepting to receive her at State House. The newly appointed UNFPA representative to Sierra Leone applauded the laudable initiative of government's free health care program for pregnant women, lactating mothers and children under 5. She acknowledged that it is a bold step towards improving the health status of women and children and also applauded the high level of cooperation and support received from the government through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation and the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development in promoting population development issues and the post-2015 Program of Action, the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs Agenda 2030.
I've come at a time when UNFPA, having supported the Ebola response, is now refocusing our efforts back to our core mandate. And so we'll continue to provide you with our continued support to make sure that the post-Ebola recovery period is something we can look back on and also say proudly that as UNFPA, we supported the government of Sierra Leone through Ebola, but we also supported you post-Ebola to get back onto the road to recovery. So thank you very much.
Welcoming Dr. Kim Eva Dixon, President Nkrumah said the government and the UNFPA have been working closely in the past, even before Ebola, but he must commend the steps they took in providing government with the support that is required to fight against Ebola. The president lamented that Ebola was new to the country and as a government, they were not quite prepared in handling it, but UNFPA provided the country with the necessary technical backup that was required. He pointed out that they also introduced contact tracing that was not known, of which they could not have been succeeded as a government in eliminating Ebola. On the issues of maternal and child health, the president intimated Dr. Dixon that the government has been working on it also, but Ebola compounded the problems. He noted that as a government, they are making progress, but however, like any other sector, they have their difficulties.
We are happy with the support that was provided us. In the conduct of the census, it was postponed because of Ebola. but thankfully it has been completed, and from all indications it has turned out to be one of the best in Africa, and we are very proud that we have conducted a census that is successful, a census that has been acclaimed by both local and international monitors and NGOs, and to be a transparent and successful census. And just recently, the BBC that visited also endorsed it. So as a government, we look confident, and we do hope that at the end of the year, when the final figures and details are submitted, we'll be able to use it for the purposes for which it is meant. We are not only going to limit ourselves to the allocation of constituencies or wards. We are going to look at the other indicators that they will provide to us that will inform our future policy direction.
Still with the presidency, maternal health specialist Professor Christopher Balogun Lynch has called on President Nkrumah State House to relate himself with the experience on the maternal health care sector in Sierra Leone. Professor Lynch told President Nkrumah that there is room for improvement that is cost effective. President Bashkumar filing this report.
Christopher Balogun Lynch is a Sierra Leonean born in 1947 and was educated at Oxford and St. Bartholomew's Medical College, London. He graduated in medicine from Barts in 1973, and after various appointments at Barts from 1982 to 1983, in 1984 he was appointed as consultant to the Oxford region based at Milton Keynes General Hospital. As part of his training commitment for the year 2016, Professor Christopher Balogun Lynch was invited to Sierra Leone by Kappa Care, a Norwegian charity, to conduct a 5-day training and workshop at the Masanga Hospital in Magboka from the 24th to the 26th of this month for high-risk pregnancies, including transverse compression techniques for placenta previa, which is a new technique used worldwide. As a result of his excellent work done by Professor Lynch, the First Lady, Sianyama Nkrumah, became involved in his visit and requested an extension of his stay to enable the professor to further engage with relevant stakeholders in the health sector. Professor Christopher Balogun Lynch, based on his valuable contributions to the health sector worldwide and following his successful practice in complex gynecological surgical procedures, has been nominated for the Nobel Prize 2016. Briefing the President on the purpose of his visit, Professor Christopher Balogun Lynch informed President Ernest Bai Koroma that he has worked in the United Kingdom, which is internationally recognized as important. He added the World Health Organization has recently published that his operations have saved the lives of 2 million women around the world, and for that reason he has been put up for this year's Nobel Prize. Professor Lynch noted with appreciation that he might not get the award, but it's worth to be considered, and as a Sierra Leonean, he is very proud of it. He revealed that he came to Sierra Leone on the invitation of Kappa Care, a Norwegian charity that does training of healthcare assistants alongside doctors to improve capacity building. The landed professor pointed out that they need capacity in Sierra Leone as they don't have enough doctors that need those who are able to show potential to provide service to every part of the country.
Program to improve it. I feel firstly we need what we call integrated care, not fragmented care. Integrated where we can have a center for coordination. Say based in Joe, I've seen the hospital in Joe. Very good, very nice, very new, very organized. So I would have thought a center like that could be a good postgraduate center for two things. education and skills training. And the education should not just be education as we understand it freely, but one, education of the patients, and two, education of the carer. So the patient on the one hand to recognize when things are not right, simple things, the health cares, the traditional birth attendants, to know when to call for help, when to motivate their patients to go and seek help.
Welcoming Professor Christopher Lynch, President Ernest Bai Koroma said it is always refreshing to have him back home, and that as a country they are very proud to have one of them. As leader in healthcare delivery, which as a result he has saved over 2 million lives. The president pointed out that it is a pride to them as Sierra Leoneans, and it is something they have to be boastful about. As Professor Christopher Lynch, the Sierra Leonean, is making all the landmark achievements in the world in saving lives to the extent that he has been recognized by the World Health Organization. He added that his landmark achievements have also made him to be even nominated for the Nobel Prize Award this year. Therefore, as a government and country, they hope and pray that he wins the award because it will also feature Sierra Leone, including himself, in the international community for a very good reason. President Koroma observed that the country has been in the media for a period for the wrong reasons. As such, let them now start featuring the good reasons and for causes that will bring a lot of recognition and respect to Sierra Leone and Sierra Leoneans. The president thanked Professor Lynch for the work that has been done in the past couple of days he has stayed in Sierra Leone. He maintained that as Sierra Leonean, especially in the medical field, they need a lot of training for which there is no doubt about, and which is the reason why in government's post-Ebola recovery program in the next 6 to 9 months, they have prioritized health, including the 10 to 24 months post-Ebola recovery program. This President Koroma emphasized is because they believe that as a government, they have to revamp the entire health sector by strengthening it and making it more resilient. The President pointed out that it will require taking new approaches in addressing the issues and to train more of their people.
You're helping out, but we also need help. I mean, yes, it is our responsibility to contribute towards international development. But whilst we are making great efforts out there, we also should ensure that our people are not left behind. We have to train our people, develop our infrastructure, so that the maternal and child health and the challenges we are facing there will be a thing of the past. So let me assure you that as a government, we are very keen on working on it. And also assure you that the Ministry of Health and the Office of the First Lady will collaboratively work together to ensure that we get you out there more often so that the wealth of experience, the knowledge you've had could be imparted to our people.
Well, in case you've just joined us, this is News Hour live on the SMBC. The Executive Director of the Maritime Administration, Alhaji Jallo, has spoke of plans to commence inspection of foreign vessels sailing the country's territorial waters as measures to ensure port sea control. Mr. Jallo was speaking at a forum with stakeholders of the strategies the port sea control will take, which aims at preventing substandard vessels into the country and also oil spill. Darren Kaloko reports.
This is the first time Sierra Leone is to begin inspection of foreign vessels sailing the country's territorial water, as the Maritime Administration is now capacitated and determined to work in line with the international maritime safety measures. The inspection of foreign vessels will protect the country from substandard and unsafe vessels. Director of Safety Maritime Administration Abraham Wuri said that the port sea control is part of a memorandum of understanding signed under the Abuja Protocol, aiming at scrutinizing and inspecting all vessels plying the country's coastline. He said inspections of vessels will create an opportunity for their staff to identify all that will stand as obstacles towards sea safety. He described the session as a time to have a common and public-private partnership to prevent the country from oil spill and unhealthy sea activities. The executive director of the Maritime Administration, Alhaji Wuro Jallo, said his institution is to begin a massive inspection of foreign vessels, which will be easier to identify vessels in and out of the country's territorial waters. He said that the Maritime Administration joined the International Maritime Organization in 1973, of which they are determined to work on all treaties and protocols on sea safety that will be in the country's interest.
Basically, why do we want to do this? The reason is we want to reduce substandard shipping. Every day, every hour, we hear about ships spilling oil, ships engaging in illegal activities, ships having improper trained crew on board. So these are all the issues that we want to look at. We have various conventions which we have ratified, which gives us the basis, the legal basis to actually do these post-state control inspections. And we think with the right frame of mind and the kind of cooperation we receive from the agencies, because we are the people receiving the ships coming to this country, we should be able to do these inspections without no hindrance.
On the ferry issue, Mr. Alhaji Wuro Jallo said that they are open to any private business people that would like to run ferries in the country to ease the constraints. He said that one of the reasons that causes the grounding of ferries is because they are touching the red line, which is not acceptable. Deputy Director of the Maritime Administration, Alpheus Cole, said that they believe in experience sharing with stakeholders working on maritime issues. He said that the session will create a room for them to understand the standards of the port sea control, their list, and what is obtained in the shipping list.
The Director General of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, Dr. Elvis Manabum Hallowell, has stressed the need to train camera operators with the required equipment in changing from analog to digital. The Director General was speaking at a 4-day training organized for camera operators drawn from the SLBC, Star TV, and AYV, organized by the Muslim television based in the UK. Doreen Kaloko again.
As the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation prepares to transform from an analog to digital system, the training of cameramen from various broadcasting houses is vital for professional service delivery. The aim is to teach them the new techniques of camera operation to improve on their content of television programs. Director General of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, Elvis Banabum Hallowell, says that despite the importance attached to training people, it is of essence that television stations be provided with the required facilities to do an effective television show. He adds that at the moment the SLBC is working towards a transformation from analog to digital system. The Director General assures that his focus is to embark on a series of documentary with the required content that will be good for television broadcasting.
This is what, gives us the relationship, both African television and the European television. And we want to make use of it. We want not only getting the training, but you can get the training, but if you do not have the equipment, you're in trouble. So we're looking forward to this kind of situation, where we can improve both our techniques and our equipment. We're working on that, because that migrating from analog to digital means you have to have the necessary equipment.
Chief Coordinator of the Muslim Television, Ahmadiyya, Sierra Leone, informs that they are a faith-based television station that operates on 3 satellites. He says that the training is to transfer knowledge and skills for an effective television production done out of a memorandum signed to train Sierra Leonean cameramen to expose them with the modern techniques, especially when the SLBC is soon to move from analog to digital system. SLBC's head of cameramen, Edward Kamara, lauds SLBC's management and organizers for such a training designed to sharpen their skills and techniques in handling camera professionally at work. He encourages his colleagues to treat the training with utmost seriousness. An international trainer from the United States, Mumin Bati, expressed his delight to be in Sierra Leone for the first time to exchange ideas and skills with cameramen for effective television content.
The Environment Protection Agency, EPA, has shut down the operations of the Shengfen Mining Company and also confiscated some of its equipment for operating without a valid environmental impact assessment license as mandated by the EPA Act of 2008 as amended in 2010. The Shengfen Mining Company is a mining company and mining gold in a village called Kampala in the Sanda Local Chiefdom, Bombali District. Sheikh Samaila was there and now reports.
2008 as amended in 2010 says for activity that may impact the environment, be it construction, agriculture, manufacturing or mining, whosoever is doing it should first acquire an environmental impact assessment license backed up with the environmental management plan and also community development commitment for the benefit of the people living within their areas of operation. Failure to adhere will, according to the EPA Act, result to a fine not exceeding 50 million leones or a jail term not exceeding 2 years. Shengfen, a Chinese company, is mining gold in this village called Kampala in the Laminayach section, Sana Local Chiefdom, Bombali District, without an EIA, which is in violation of the EPA Act. EPA has stopped them before, but what they have resorted to now is clandestine mining, not only without EIA from EPA, but even a valid mining license. They even refuse to rehabilitate dug-out areas, which is also non-adherence to the laws of the land. When a team of EPA officials, civil society, the media, and security personnel arrived here, the village chief, Amadou Kamara, deliberately wanted to divert the attention of the team with deceit that Shengfen was no longer mining gold in the community. But intelligence from the villagers enabled EPA to discover this new mining site where large-scale mining is taking place. At this site, a lot of mining materials were confiscated and the village chief and the Chinese miner arrested. 3 other Chinese escaped into the nearby bushes. Chief Kamara denied any involvement in the illegal mining, insisting he is not in the know of the illegal mining, as the arrested Chinese miner continued to deny that they are mining even when the evidence was clear that indeed mining is taking place.
Only here water there. Want to start the work here. National pull this water. National make this.
They are the just sky boss. And they know every time they don't start. Look at it, ask them before the money. And they say they don't pull the maker.
The village chief was arrested for deceit and the Chinese man for illegal mining, and we are taken first to the community people and later to the section chief of Laminaya, where the senior environmental officer, EPA, Shekusako, explained how mining companies are illegally operating in their communities without benefiting the inhabitants as they remain in abject poverty. The circle of poverty will continue if such activities continue, he said.
To be specific, gold mining pits, and then you see locals around, London around, and mercury has been used here during the mining activity. The acquiring of the EIA license is not just about ensuring sustainable environmental management plan and implementation of a community development action plan. It also involves the decommissioning of your project, which involves at the closure of your project, you must rehabilitate your mine area, because what you are seeing here, it's an artificial lake that has been created, which is not good with respect to health for the community, and the use of mercury here is not even good for the health of those using the artificial lake for laundry purposes. Of course, for us as an agency, we will continue to enforce the law, we will continue to make sure sustainable mining practices are being done here in this country.
Bintu Kaifala is Regional Environmental Officer North. She said she had been monitoring the region for illegal operations of mining companies and that she had warned those in the habit of the consequences of their activities.
So this is really sad to see stakeholders
key stakeholders in the community conniving with foreigners, and not only conniving with foreigners, but also engage in such activities within their own communities, destroying the very environment upon which they depend. This is really sad.
The Chinese man and the confiscated items have been handed over to the police in Makini, whilst investigations continue. Abdul Karim Kuruma represented the civil society movement of Sierra Leone.
It will take more than 25 to 30 years for that place to settle down. And at the end of the day, even to compensate the community, understand, they will not do it. Understand? And we have to make sure that whenever there are activities that are taking place, understand, there should be some things they should do in the community. For example, like building schools, community health centers, hospitals, etc., etc. But they don't even do that. Even when I came here, I even asked some of the people in the community. They even said that at least this is the way they are doing. At the same time, they're living like that.
Sierra Leone is losing a huge sum of money to illegal mining, as it is all happening in the fisheries sector. These two sectors are crucial to the growth of this country's economy, just like any other country in the globe, which means serious attention must be paid to these growth sectors of the economy. Reporting for SLBC News, I'm Sheikh Usmaila.
Well, that's our last news report on News Hour tonight. And in the absence of business and sports updates, we end the news for tonight. To end the news, the main points again. Sierra Leone has joined Muslims around the world to observe the feast of Eid al-Fitr to mark the end of this year's holy month of Ramadan. The newly appointed United Nations Population Fund country representative to Sierra Leone, Dr. Kim Eva Dixon, has lauded the government-free healthcare scheme. The Executive Director of Maritime Administration, Alhaji Wo Jallo, has unveiled plans to commence inspection of foreign vessels sailing the country's territorial waters. Well, that's all in this edition of the news, broadcast live on the SLBC. On behalf of News Editor Ibrahim Ansari, I am Daphne Zainab Kamara in Freetown. For more information about the programs, send us an email to contact us at slbc.sl. And in case you missed all or part of our programs at the SLBC, visit our website at www.slbc.sl. Thanks for watching and have a blessed night. Enjoy the rest of your Eid al-Fitr day.